Good morning, everybody. Teacher Brianna here. I'm so excited to do another lesson with you guys today. We have so many exciting things to learn about. We are learning about volcanoes and we're learning about Mount Rainier. Oh my gosh, such cool stuff. But before we get started, I just wanted to do a little meditation to clear our minds. Now, normally we do meditation when we're sitting on the floor, crisscross applesauce, and we have our bottoms grounded and our heads feel light and our shoulders feel light. But I wanted to let you know that you can meditate anywhere. You can meditate while you're sitting in the car. You can meditate while you're in the kitchen, maybe before you cook. You can meditate while you're just sitting on the couch or in bed before you go to sleep. It's just taking a minute to think about your breath and clear your mind. So let's just give it a try. You can close your eyes or not. It's totally up to you. I am, so I can really think about my breath. So I'm going to close my eyes, take a big deep breath in. And exhale. Inhale again. Maybe think about what that sounds like. Maybe like waves. Exhale. That sounds kind of like wind. Now you may notice that you're thinking about other things. Maybe your parents, maybe your friends, or your dog, or your cat. And that's okay. Just notice that you're thinking about them. And then take another deep breath. Focus on that inhale. Exhale out. Take one more deep inhale. And then just when you think you can't get any more air, one more. Inhale. All right, how you guys feeling? That was a pretty short meditation, huh? But you know what? I feel so much better. That was maybe a minute, but it only took a minute for me to just clear my mind and get ready for the lesson with you guys. Okay, so let's start with volcanoes. Do you guys know what a volcano is? Well, I'm gonna tell you. A volcano is a mountain that has a crater on the top of it, like a little circle, and there's a magma chamber. Sounds pretty crazy, right? A magma chamber underneath the mountain. Now, what is a magma chamber? A magma chamber. A magma chamber is where there's hot molten magma, and that is basically hot liquid rock. So rocks are solid, but magma is liquid hot rocks. And what happens is that magma can go up through a chamber, through the top of the crater, and erupt into lava that comes out the top of the mountain. So, pretty cool, right? And volcanoes can happen anywhere. They can even happen on other moons or other planets. But, you know, we have mountains here too that are volcanoes. So, I'm going to start with the parts of the volcano. Now, I sent this to your parents so you can check it out and color it. And there's different versions of it. If you're working on your writing, you can write these parts in. If you're working on tracing, you can trace them. Or if you're not quite writing yet, but you just want to match the words, there's different cards that you can cut out and match to the words. So let's start with magma. We were just talking about that. That's that little magma chamber right there. And that's where the hot liquid rock lives. And then it travels up through this little area right here, which is called the conduit. Can you say conduit? Conduit. And it travels up through the conduit. And then sometimes the conduit breaks off into these little things right here. And these are called dikes. And the dikes are like the veins of the of the volcano. So kind of like a vein in a leaf. And it kind of just goes out different areas of the mountain, which is kind of like a sill, but it's not the same. The difference is that a sill is what is called an intrusive body of magma. Do you know what intrusive means? Intrusive means, imagine your little sister or your brother barge into your room and you didn't want them to come in through that door, right? They were being intrusive. So this is an intrusive body of magma. So the magma pushes its way through the ground and the layers of rock and sediments, and it makes its own little kind of offshoot that runs kind of parallel to the ground right there. See that? And that is a sill. And from the very top here is the crater that we were talking about. And that's where the hot magma comes out of. It's like the little opening, like a faucet. And then once that magma travels through the crater and comes down the side of the mountain, that is when it is called lava. Pretty cool, huh? So you'll be able to learn a little bit more about this at home when you're coloring your sheets and learning and writing these letters here. And I can't wait to see all of your creations. I love to see your work, guys. It really just gives me life. So if you want to take pictures of that and send them to us, I would love to see it. All right, so let's see what's next. Okay, here's where the exciting stuff comes in. Mount Rainier. Do you guys know what Mount Rainier is? Mount Rainier is kind of our local volcano, as it were. I'm sure on a clear day, you've seen Mount Rainier, and it is a big, beautiful mountain. It is a big, beautiful volcano, and it is an active volcano, but scientists are pretty positive that that thing is not going to erupt anytime soon, so we are all safe. Fact 2, it is the highest mountain in Washington. It is 13,211 feet tall. Now, how tall is that, right? That just sounds like a really, really big number. Now, it is basically 22, maybe a little bit more, 22 Space Needles. So do you guys know what the Space Needle is? This guy. The Space Needle is gigantic as well. And imagine if you have ever stood at the base of the Space Needle and looked up to the very top. And now imagine there were 22 more of those. I made a little picture. See this? This is Mount Rainier. See all these little guys? These are Space Needles. That's a really big mountain. So, fact 3, there is a hidden crater lake that is 15 feet deep and more than 130 feet wide. And it lives underneath the crater of Mount Rainier. Now this right here is the crater of Mount Rainier. Pretty groupie, huh? Now underneath that crater, scientists were able to travel underneath. First it takes like 3 days to get to the crater, right, from the bottom. Then they go inside these different caves. Here you can see them scaling down the crevasses, then hiking through the large caves. They found running water and huge open spaces. One was larger than a ballroom, and they nicknamed it the Colosseum. Fact 4. Faye Fuller is the first woman to reach the summit of Mount Rainier. Now check out this hiking gear. Could you imagine hiking in this? Back in 1890, there wasn't any sort of specialized hiking clothes or shoes for women, so Fuller actually had to wear boys' hiking shoes, flannel bloomers,
and wool pantyhose when she made the climb. Afterwards, she helped form the Washington Alpine Club and the Mazamas. She also got her own mountaineering column in a Tacoma newspaper, inspiring other women to pursue outdoor adventure.
Okay, next. Here comes the exciting stuff, guys. Are you ready? I have an experiment, scientific experiment for you guys. Now, I'm kind of winging it, so this is the first time I've done it all the way to the end. I've made all these parts here. And what you're gonna need is some Play-Doh. I made this Play-Doh the other day. Super easy. It took me like literally 5 minutes to do. So we've got a recipe. You can also use clay, or you can use dirt from outside to make your volcano. And you need a little plastic cup, glass cup, whatever, just a little cup. You can also use a bottle, a plastic bottle, and cut it in half and use that as well. And you also are going to need some baking soda and some white vinegar, some dish soap, and some plastic wrap. This I just added in to not make a huge mess. And some red food coloring, which I didn't have, but it's really just to add that cool magma effect, that lava effect. But since I didn't have any, that's okay. You can use beets too if you have beets lying around. Beets are a great natural dye, but you know, what can you do? I didn't have any. So I'm gonna make a little donut with my Play-Doh, and I am going to put it around my cup and make it kind of look like a volcano. And I actually made this out of a natural dye, this Play-Doh here. I made it with black beans because I was soaking some beans, and all the water that the beans were soaking in turned this dark, dark purple. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna see if I can make Play-Doh out of that. And I did. It was actually super easy. So if you ever wanna like look into dyeing anything naturally, there's stuff all around our kitchen that we can use to do that. Okay, that'll be a lesson for another day. Okay, now that we've got our volcano, now if you were using dirt, you could put, you know, some leaves around it and really just decorate it up the way you want to do it, make it look nice. Always make sure that you are doing this with adult supervision. Don't ever want to take things out of your kitchen without asking, because it could be dangerous, right? And also it's kind of fun to do it with your parents or with an older sibling, or maybe with, you know, an au pair or nanny or a grandparent or whoever. Okay, so I just put the plastic over top because I didn't want it to ruin my Play-Doh. I really like this Play-Doh, but so does Vance. So I don't want to get it all vinegary. All right, add a little more plastic. Okay, now that we are ready to go, see this? See, it's all covered. Now I'm doing this on my kitchen table, which is plastic. So if I get anything spilled on it, it'll clean up really easy. However, if you're working on something that's maybe wooden, or you're just like really not into making any sort of mess, which I totally understand, you can put it on a cookie sheet or a baking sheet too, and it'll catch any sort of extra vinegar or whatever. So, all right, let us get started. Now, first we are going to pour in our vinegar. Now this is 1 cup of white vinegar. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that in. And then we are going to use our dish soap. And it says that we're gonna need 2 tablespoons. This is a little smaller than a tablespoon, but so maybe I'll just do a little bit extra. We'll see. This is gonna create like a bubbling effect, kind of like the lava coming up the top. Then we will wipe this off because I'm gonna use it again. Then at this point you would put in your red food coloring if you had it. You could even put a little yellow in there too to make it kind of orangey, like get a little experimental. But when that is all ready to go, then we use our baking soda. Now, baking soda is kind of the thing that makes it erupt. So here we go. Are you ready? I've never done this before, so I'm really hoping it works. I mean, scientifically I know it will, but here we go. 1, oh my gosh. 2, that is so cool. I'm very proud of myself right now. All right, cool, man. So could you imagine if that was red and, you know, it would look like hot lava and it would be super cool, but I kind of like my white lava. It's not necessarily accurate, but it looks pretty cool. All right, well, guys, that was really exciting. And I am so happy that you were here to experience my first volcano. And I hope you guys have a great time trying it at home. Again, please take pictures or video or whatever. I would love to see how this goes at home and, you know, see how exciting, and I would love to see your faces because I know I was so excited, and I'm not even a kid, but grown-ups can get excited about science and experiments too, right? Okay, guys, well, I can't wait to do this with you again and have some more exciting lessons. But until then, I will see you next time. Bye.